I would love for 20-year-olds to just find you and get, trained right off the hop. Like
Sounds
just
so
be
bad. I
trusted.
want that clip that out. I want 20-year-olds to find you.
Young people to be like, did it right from the start.
Yeah, just do it
Right.
right from the start. I think that you are training the next generation of human sales.
Yes.
All right. Welcome back to another edition of the Pear Genius podcast. I'm your host, Alex Pauls. With me, as always, is the brand alchemist, Kati Pauls. And I just want to do a quick bit of self-promotion and encourage everybody to check out kpdesign.ca. We got some really cool new offers and some new videos that Kati's been working on. And it's always fun when Kati revamps the site and it makes it look beautiful. And I encourage everybody to go check it out and, like, subscribe, share, check out the parageniuspodcast.com website as well. Man, that thing is beautiful. And all the episodes, Kati's done it all nicely. And yeah, it's a lot of fun doing the podcast. And today is no exception because we got Aleasha Bahr with us from Black Sheep Sales. And I want everybody to go check out aleashabahr.com and welcome, Aleasha. I can't wait to get into what it is that you do and your genius zone and all those cool things. So welcome to the Pear Genius podcast.
Thank you, Alex and Kati. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Nice. Yeah, so Kati, what do you want to know about Black Sheep Sales?
Pretty much everything. I mean, you already had a little meeting with Aleasha, so you kind of know the shtick and what she's all about, but I know nothing and the viewers know nothing. So let's start
Mhm.
there. Who are you? What are you here to do? And what do you enjoy doing? What's your genius zone?
Yeah, so I mean, Black sheep sales is an approach to sales that is different from what we usually see. So, like when I started my career in corporate sales, selling digital advertising, I was what you would call a natural at sales. And when someone's a natural at sales and you ask them what they do, they say, well, I don't really sell. And it's like, well, what the hell does that mean? So, what it means is that they're not selling someone something they don't need, even if they could make money from it. So they're being really transparent and honest throughout the sales process. Like, I don't actually think that you really need this, you know? You need this other thing over here. You need to complete this step first. And it's magnetic. It makes everyone want to work with you because you have their best interest in mind. And so I ended up starting my own marketing agency for about 5 years, and I missed sales and I shifted into sales consultancy about 6 years ago because I saw that there was such a gap for founders in sales training. So founders are like, I'm going to start a company and I love what I do. And damn, I have to sell it. I didn't think about that part. And I kind of hate that part. And then they go looking for how to sell. And all the advice is like really gross and awkward and forced. And they have to pretend that they're someone else and they have to act like someone else. So I wanted to create a method that was really effective for founders without them acting like a douchebag, um, and really effective for a buyer also. So when I started, like, I didn't know exactly how I was going to help people. And so they would tell me what they offered. And I'd be like, yeah, it sounds like you do this. And they'd be like, oh, I really like how you said that. And I'd be like, oh, okay. Why don't I write that down for you? And then I would say, like, are you asking these questions? Because this is information we need to know. No, no, I'm not. Oh, well, let me write those down for you too. And then I had these like frameworks that I was creating. And then I noticed after dozens of people, there were clear patterns in the framework. So traditional sales is like this interrogation at the beginning, and like you're instructed to not talk. Your prospect's the only one who's going to talk, right? And then you have this like awkward transition where you're like, well, here's what I'm hearing. La 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 la. And this is something we help with. Can I, would you like me to share how we do that? Which just feels like, yeah, I'm here on the sales call for that purpose. And now I know you're about to pitch me, and so my guard is up. And then there's the other person, the salesperson who's just talking for an extended period of time. So instead, this framework makes it a conversational exchange the entire time. At no point is one person talking more than the other. And it's very collaborative. It's like, well, what do you need this? Do you need that? Let's find out if this is a fit. So the underlying philosophy is if it's a fit, it's a fact, and there's no selling involved, which also includes your anti-audience. So thinking about who is not a fit for you, who is a nightmare client. And that's just something that everybody's focused on their ideal audience so much that they're not focused on repelling the opposite and being really honest with people about who that person is so we can make sure that's not you. And people can feel more confident moving forward with you when they know who doesn't get results. They're like, oh, good, that's not me, right? So it's a huge shift that makes it much easier for founders and salespeople of all kinds, and also a lot better for buyers. So that's like what I do. And then my genius is definitely positioning and strategy and messaging. So I don't think that people really understand all the time what that is. So a great example is, let's say that you have a baseball game that you want to invite someone to, and you have two friends. You have one friend who's married with small children, and you have one friend who is single. The friend that's married with children, you're going to be like, we got a great spot behind the home plate. It's going to be really good weather. Let's just have some like me time where we really like enjoy the game, right? And for the single person, you're going to be like, there's going to be singles there. We'll mingle. I'll buy you a beer. We can go out afterwards. Now, this is the same game. And you're not lying about it to either of the people. You're positioning it for the person that you want to invite. So that's the difference in knowing how to position your service and also positioning the end result. You notice I didn't say like, there's going to be 8 innings and there, we're going to have a seat and there's going to be popcorn. And, it's not about the deliverables, which is what people really get hung up on. It's about the results of the deliverables. And so that's really like my zone of genius, is helping people position their product in a way that communicates and articulates the value of it so that people want to buy it and it feels in integrity at the same time.
Nice.
Yeah, you know what? It's really shocking how many people create something that they want to sell, but they don't understand how to describe the experience of it. It's not that you're describing the bells and whistles of it, it's the experience it creates for the different people who it might be drawn to. That's really interesting. I love that that's your genius zone too, because it's not then about the end result so much as it is about you being, it's almost like you're the guardian in between the product and the person coming to you, because you really have to create this safe space and this threshold where it's like, okay, I totally know who you are and there's all these different options for you. Let's create the experience that works best for you, right? Like you're really seeing people.
Yeah, like what you need based on the end goal. And a lot of times founders are so close to their service, they're such an expert in it, that they forget what it was like when they weren't and what they would need to hear in order to understand what the hell they were getting, So being able to take them back a bunch of steps to give that to the person that they're talking to, because they're just like passionate. And then the foundational things that you need with black sheep sales are just empathy, curiosity, and passion. And you can be absolutely incredible. You can convert 80% of your sales conversations. And, because you said making people feel seen and heard, and that is a big part of the process. And so often founders are so focused on their thing and what it's going to, like what they're going to give somebody, that they're not seeing and hearing the person and what they're going through right now. And
I loved what you were saying about repelling your nightmare clients. I was like, oh wow, okay. Because for us, I would say a nightmare client for us would be someone who just wants the cheapest website or just a whatever brand. They don't care. Like somebody who just doesn't care, just needs something that they could go to Fiverr and just something to kicked off, those are not our people. And then people who don't trust. Like if you're coming to us, you're trusting Kati's 24, 25 years of experience, her intuition, the fact that she can meditate and create this amazing thing that is supposed to be. Yeah, people who don't get that, those are not our people.
Absolutely. So people who value price more than quality, people who it really sounds like you just don't want people who are new to it, because somebody who's already done this process is going to know that the cheap thing, if you buy cheap, you pay twice, right?
Right.
So,
Yep.
I have a client, for example, who just had somebody be like, yeah, what's the price for your stuff? And what's the process? And he's like, so I can tell this guy just cares about price. And it's like, okay, well, let's send him a Loom video back that's like, hey, there's a lot of variables that I need to know in order to give you a price. This is typically like how long it's going to take. So I don't know what you have going on or what, timeline you're trying to do this in, but it's good to know that's how long it typically takes. I can tell that price is pretty important to you. So even though I don't have those variables, I can share with you that we're not the cheapest. So if you want the cheapest, then I would do it yourself, or I would go over here. The way we do it is really it gets a higher end result much faster. And if that's something that's important to you, then we should definitely meet and I can understand the variable specific to your situation. So
Perfect.
once he did that, the guy that immediately shifts the person's mindset to be like, no, I don't just want the cheapest, right? Instead of you having to like defend and all of this stuff.
Yeah.
So it's that act of saying, if this is you, that's okay. No judgment. I'm just not your solution. And so it makes people want to work with you more.
Yeah, there's a real presence to you when you speak, even when you're speaking from that perspective of talking to the person who doesn't want to buy cheap. You do that with presence and there's no hesitation. So your energy is very set in that moment. And I feel like, okay, now I'm believing everything you say because I'm reading your energy first. Like, how do you make me feel before actually I'm listening to the words and letting it soak in? So that presence is so important. Is that part of the things that you teach to people?
You're talking about something that's very valid. You're talking about nonverbals. You're talking about vibe, body language, tone. Those things can really trip a lot of people up if they focus too much on them. So I usually people can shift into that place if they change their focus to understanding if someone is a fit. Like the goal here is not to get a yes, because mainstream sales is everyone is a yes. And if you didn't get a yes, then you failed. Because if they really wanted it, if they really understood the value, they would find the money, right? That's the argument. And instead, it's like, no, not getting a yes is not a failure. Like, we want to actively repel people that are not a fit. So the only goal then is understanding if someone is a fit. Is this something you need? Do you actually need and want this based on your goals, your expectations, your experience? And so when you come from that place, naturally your energy and your tone and stuff is going to reflect just genuine curiosity. And like the other way, when all you want is a yes, is called commission breath. Like you can feel it when someone just wants to force you into a yes, like no matter what concern you bring up, they are dismissing it, and saying like, the reason why they're trying to convince,
Yeah. I liked what you were saying about gaining trust. And when you're offering solutions or options or even questions to ask, like if you know people are going to different agencies or different clients, it really builds trust when you give them ammo. What questions should you be asking? When you're educating them, you're almost, well, I would say you are building trust with them, whether it's on purpose or by accident. They start to trust you as the expert when you give them the perfect questions to ask every single agency, and especially if they've already been to two or three, and they still don't have that educational piece, and you gave them something, you've already stood out. So when you said something about that, that really resonated with me, and I feel like we've converted a lot of people by being obviously very knowledgeable in our industry, pricing, what questions to ask, what tricks there are to the trade and how people can kind of get screwed in our industry as well, because there's lots of shady website builders and all sorts of there's all sorts of things that we've seen and had to rescue clients. So we incorporate that into a lot of our meetings with them and educational pieces.
Yeah. So what you're talking about is something that I found as well, and really recommend, and not a lot of people do, is empowering someone with the ability to make the right choice by knowing what to ask the competition, and naturally, like you're telling them to ask things that you know that you do. So when I was a marketing agency, one of the things I would come in contact with, which I think you're alluding to, is that someone could hold their website hostage. Like, oh, you want to change
Yes.
providers? No, you can't. You can't have these files. They're on my server. I'm not going to give them to you. So being able to tell people, if you're interviewing people, please ask who has ownership of the files. Is it in your name? Is it in your company? And that's definitely going to make them trust you more. You were saying educating, and I do want to clarify that it is really difficult to educate and sell in the same conversation. But educating is different from what you're saying. You're
Okay.
saying that I'm empowering them with questions that are going to allow them to not get in a bad situation. Educating would be like you're explaining to them the power of a brand and what that does for a company. Like you can't do that and sell at the same time. And it takes a ton of time out of the sales conversation to do that. So when you break that piece out ahead of time and give it to somebody before you even talk, then the sale happens in a much less amount of time. You don't need multiple meetings. And you can really talk about their situation in a way that's specific to them instead of taking like the first half with like, why does anybody, a brand is more than a logo, like,
hmm This is where me and Kati like to bump heads, because I'm way more personal and I like to connect with people, and she is very, let's get down to it. Let's get the podcast started. Let's get the meeting started. And I have to do the social stuff in order to get warmed up to get to the business stuff. So we're different that way, but she's totally with you on, keep this separate, or if we can just get to it right here. If it was up to Kati, we would have one intro meeting and then get right into the sales. Done. And I like to do it in
well,
two parts: meeting and then proposal.
oh no, I recommend having a meeting and a proposal. If you
Oh,
email a proposal, it's like you're expecting them to understand everything in the proposal. And you can't ask questions and that kind of a thing. So being able to say, like, is this what you had in mind? Like, do you feel like this would be effective for you? I included this based on the conversation and blah, blah, blah. But the education piece, it's to reduce the time in the conversation, but like it's in the I wouldn't say that that replaces a proposal meeting or anything like that. It's
right.
just something that helps shift the context for the discovery conversation that you have. So you're not like having to explain why what you do is really valuable. Instead, it's like, what is, they come in knowing what brand is, and you can say, what did you think about that? Like, and I'm sure there are different types of brands that you could even offer them in an educational video ahead of time. It's like, do you want to be like ubiquitous, like McDonald's, I'm loving it? Like, can't not think about it, Or do you want more like this niche brand that's like, if you're in the herbal supplement space, Herbalife, or you know what I mean? Like, you could kind of give them like ask them like out of the video, like what it could direct the conversation in a more powerful way. I think what you might be talking about also, Alex, is like a rapport hole, is what I call it.
Mm.
Um, where you're like talking about everything but business potentially. Um, which can feel like, oh my God, we had a great conversation. They're definitely moving forward. But like you talked about where y'all lived, like how old your kids are, what hobbies you have, and you had so much in common, and it was such a good convo, but only like this much about business. So although they liked you, they didn't necessarily trust you to get them the result that they wanted. So
But
is
that's
that
why
kind
me and Kati are so yin and yang, because
of,
that's my piece, and her piece is the just the expertise and the getting to it and then blowing them away with her intuition, and her energy is so, oh, I'm bragging about my wife here, but her
I
energy
love
is so
it. I love
good
it so much.
when it comes to getting right into it, and people can feel that, oh, we're done with him, we're done with the the dentist talk of who their kids are. While meanwhile, I'm making all these notes and like, I'm winning the personal battle here. They're gonna feel like I love them and I care about who they are. And for the most part, I do care about people and I like meeting them. But Kati, like, she loves to get into the creative part, and I don't know, she's just like, well, whatever. The people part,
Okay,
that's
okay.
me.
It's time for me to speak now because
Yes,
you've
it's time
said
for
a
you to
lot of
speak.
things about me.
Well, I love that he's hyping you up. Your partner should be your hype man. Should,
Oh,
you know? Yeah.
100%. Yes. Yeah. No, we're good at hyping each other up. I'd say that, like, if you have a business and it's like two people, like me and Alex. So I am the visionary. I hold that vision for the business. And then he comes in with all the structure stuff to actually make it work. So I'm the dreamer, he's the doer. In
Mm.
that situation, do you have both of them selling, right? Or is one person actually better at selling than the other? Like for me, yeah, I am no nonsense. There's no bullshit. Small talk makes me want to puke. It's like, tell me who you are. What do you need? If I have this stuff that I can help, I'm your girl. Otherwise, hit the road. Obviously, I have to be nicer about it. But, like maybe I shouldn't be in charge of sales.
I mean, I'm like you, Kati. I don't like small talk. It drives me nuts. And I definitely want to be efficient with our time and get you what you need, whether that's me or someone else. Like I want to have resources for you. So it sounds like usually like if what you're talking about is like your what at least Alex explained is you're really able to communicate the experience that someone's going to have and talk about the idea for them in a way that gets them excited for the outcome of your service. That's going to be more important than the personal rapport. However, I love that y'all are there, so you just hit both. I, I think that's perfect. Yeah.
I think it's the sweet spot. I think it's the sweet spot. And I mean, we pride ourselves on being best value. We're not the cheapest, we're not the most expensive. We're this unique blend of trying. We are always being as competitive as we can and looking for the perfect matches for us. And I would say in the past, I've probably not done a good enough job of repelling the people who are kind of on the fence of maybe not the right, maybe not the right fit for us.
You know what? You're really a people pleaser. You just want to help everybody. You're the rescuer. You have a problem, I'm going to rescue you no matter what. But the problem with that is that I don't actually think we're even middle of the ground. We're a premium brand. And so that was a belief that I had to reshift for myself and reword and retrain, refeel all the things, right? It's like, no, I have to value myself up here and actually embody that so that the person coming to me feels that. If I'm hesitant about my price, they're going to know, they're going to feel it. Something's going to be weird. But because it's both Alex and I selling, we both have to have the same belief around that and make sure that we're both coming to the table with the same energy. So that's been a challenge.
Yeah, I mean, so what helps a lot is when there's language that reflects the brand that you are without feeling like it's excluding people. Like you
Mm.
can feel confident in the way you're representing yourself and it does justice to the value of what you do. So, I mean, being able to communicate that a lot of times will just naturally shift the belief because I'm not a mindset person. However, I hear that people, when I work with clients, their mindset does shift because all of a sudden they have the language to articulate the thing. So naturally, their confidence and their mindset, they're like, yeah, what I offer is badass. Like I always knew it, but I didn't know how to say it so other people knew it and wanted it. So just having the belief sometimes isn't enough. Like sometimes it can go in the opposite direction.
For me, it's always like a disconnect. If I can learn it, understand it, and it clicks and fits, it's, oh, okay, then it becomes a second nature. I'm not thinking about it. It's almost subconscious. If I can just learn it and understand it, it becomes subconscious, and then I can go forward. But if I'm, like you said earlier, if I have this script and I have this checklist of all these things I have to do and these mannerisms, and you can just feel it's none of it is subconscious. Everything is on purpose,
Yeah,
and
it feels fake, you
it feels
mean?
fake. It totally
Yeah.
feels fake. Yeah, Even to me, it feels fake.
Right, right, right. It's about, honestly, it's impossible to script every way a conversation could go because humans are the most unpredictable thing on the planet. So it's really about sharpening those soft skills. So as much as like Kati was talking about, well, the energy and the presence, being able to read that in other people and ask deeper questions about it, getting curious about it, understanding what they're really saying, and being able to reflect that back to them. That stuff is going to be more powerful than any script.
Sure. I think it'd be really interesting to. I had a personality assessment done on me back when I worked at Manitoba Hydro, and it was really interesting how I don't know if you've seen this one, Alicia, where it's, red is very like no nonsense managers. It's like detail oriented, and that's like Kati. She's like all red, and I'm more of like the green and yellow guy over here, like the social at
Yeah.
and but I can be technical. I'm very balanced. But there's most people aren't balanced. So it would be a superpower to know everybody's like little disc colors of, oh, this person needs their, like me, this person needs their little bit of chit chat before we get into it, and then they'll feel at ease. And then there's people like Ati who just wants to get into it and be blown away, and then afterwards we can hug and be excited about all the amazing things, and that's where the real bonding comes in and things like that. I I mean,
There
I would love that tool.
there are sales trainers who focus on that tool, actually. It
Ah, cool.
specifically reading people to be like what their disc profile is.
Right.
Again, I feel like you get a little too in your head. Like, so instead, like, I mean, I always kind of read somebody's disc profile, I guess, just naturally, and I didn't think of it as a disc profile. I was just like, this person clearly wants to down to business, so I'm gonna get down to business. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, you can kind of get that feeling from someone, and that comes with time and repetition. But there are people who do that, who are like, if they're a D, this is how you address it. If they're an
Mm.
I, this is how you address it. If they're a C, this. I just have. I just feel like I'm thinking I'm not as present in the conversation then. I'm like worried about like what style, personality style they are.
They should just put that in our LinkedIn bios. Here's your disc. Boop. And then before you go into a meeting, you got it. And
Yeah, I mean, it really is
come on, LinkedIn.
such a great team building tool because a lot of times teams don't work together because they don't know that a different communication style is required for somebody.
Mm.
So I've seen that really effectively in team settings.
Definitely. And that's why we did it. And I was surprised that everyone was different from me. I was totally surprised. I'm like, oh, you're an engineer. You just want all the technical stuff. You could care less about my cat and if it threw up this morning. You
Yeah.
just want you just want the deets. All right, here you go. I was just blown away by how naive I was. I just thought everybody was like me. Everybody's just balanced and perfect, and here we go. But apparently, I'm the only one.
You're not the only one for sure, but maybe on your team. And thank God, because you need people who are different on a team. You need complementary
Oh,
skill
sure.
sets. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. You know what?
I'm a
You're a
DI.
D?
I'm a
Yeah, I
DI.
don't even know. I don't know
ID.
what that is.
Yeah.
Whatever's all red, that's her.
Yeah, you're a D. That would be a driver. All you're doing is driving. Like, let's get it done.
Yep.
You know what's so wild about that? Yesterday, I went to have an ultrasound done on my heart. Now, this is a very unique experience. I've never had one done before, and it's not just a picture ultrasound, but they listen to each different valve and chamber to hear how the blood's flowing through. And I'm listening. I'm like, oh my God, my heart is really hard working. Like there is like constant energy and life force, and it's pumping, pumping, pumping. And then all of a sudden, I started crying laying there on the table crying while this woman is doing her thing. And I'm like, but my heart is really sensitive. Like it's a yes, drive, drive. But then at the same
Yeah.
time, wait a minute, there's something else here. There's something really soft and quiet. So I feel like I just can't do those like personality things where it's like, yes, but or yes, and like, yeah, I'm that, but there's something else here. Like, God, humans are so complicated. And so when we get to something like sales, I feel like there's been these evolutions of different, like what sales means. Like, I bet you that once upon a time, people didn't have the reaction of, oh, sales. I feel like it was different. So do you feel like as you're evolving and shifting in your personal life that you're like, oh, but I have a new way of doing it. Maybe there's something I can pioneer here for sales. Like, is there a shift in sales that you're noticing?
I have noticed that buyers are demanding something different. There has to be innovation in the market. Like anybody who is more client centric is going to win more than the aggressive, manipulative, pushy person. So, and I want to give a disclaimer that if it's just the salesperson handing it off and never seeing the person again, sure, be manipulative and pushy and aggressive. But if you are going to have a relationship with the person that is buying from you, don't do that because you're going to have nightmare clients. You're going to bring people in who are not a fit that you forced into, and it is not worth it. So, people who are, I mean, even if you are just handing it off, you're going to get more sales by being honest and transparent and collaborative with somebody. However, the market is tired of the same dated sales bullshit. Like they're just tired of it. They're savvier than ever. They can feel the difference between commission breath and someone truly trying to help them. They can feel the difference between you have to be so skilled and talented to be good at pulling off those psychological manipulative strategies. Like the average person isn't able to do that. It just becomes see-through to anybody, to any
Got to be a
buyer.
professional sociopath.
Kind of, they have like a skill for it for sure. The nuance of it, it requires a lot of nuance and it shifts depending on who you're talking to. So for the average person, especially a founder, like this isn't their career, it's not sales, that it's not going to work for that person. So there's an absence of an alternative, and I'm really excited to fill that absence. And there are a couple other people who are like me, but there could be so many more. And I wish there were so many more. And there's like the second layer to black sheep sales that is about the black sheep, the person who has traditionally felt resistance for being different. And if you think about any progress or innovation or movement that ever happened, it was someone who had a different idea or question. And they told that person, I need you to sit down and shut up because what you're talking about is different and therefore dangerous. And that person had to say, I'm going to do it anyway. And we all benefited from that, right? Like Jesus died for it. Okay. He was murdered. Like people are put in jail for it. Like Nelson Mandela. Like, I mean, there's so many examples. And to be able to offer that hopefully inspiration to be grounded in what makes you different. And how that really does make the world a better place to show that something can be done differently. And I mean, look at this sheep. This sheep is not an angry sheep, right? Like some people think the black sheep is like middle fingers up, screw the world, light it on fire. No, this sheep's like, hey, if you want to be a sales bro and that works for you, like go on. Like I'm just saying I don't want to do that. And that's okay. And everybody should be able to do what gets results for them. And that's like this really important piece of it to me is like, and I had somebody I just had a post go kind of viral about how many people I talk to are like, I'm at 300% of my goal and my boss is upset with me because I'm not following the script or system or strategy that they lay out, which is typically some high pressure douchebag bullshit.
Right.
And it's crazy how often that happens. I mean, and people are on the post like, this was me, this was me, this was me. I did something different. They wouldn't let me, even though I was selling, even though clients came in and they had expectations managed and it was in integrity, like they wouldn't let me. And I just want there to be this space for people to be creative and think differently and be different and for it to be encouraged and celebrated and something we can learn from, not in an ego-driven, toxic way where it's like, I'm not listening to anyone else and my way is the best way and like screw all of y'all. Because some people did get confused about that. I was like, what you're talking about is an ego-driven sales diva, and that will tank a sales team. I'm talking about people who are just like, can I just do it my way? It works. Like, I'm not trying to change what anybody does. I'm not trying to demand anything crazy. I'm not putting any stress on the team. And I feel like, I mean, you probably have an approach to branding. It seems like, Kati, that is different also compared to other branding people, so that it actually pisses off other branding people sometimes when you talk about it. And the reason is like, I think that people feel like, oh, if you do it differently, it means that I'm doing it wrong. And that's the issue they're taking with it and why they get all defensive about it. And you have to do it this way. Whatever the reason, it's like really easy to get pressured into doing it a way that doesn't work for you. It's much harder to say, no, I'm going to stick with my intuition. I'm going to stick with doing it different, even though it's kind of ostracizing me or bringing some heat on me. I'm going to stay this path. And so a big part of Black Sheep sales is like, stay the path. Like, I want you to know you have people behind you that have your back, that are appreciative that you are showing up this way. And what you're doing is important, and like resist that pressure, you know?
Wow, you said so much there. The whole time it's just like, oh my God, oh my God. Yes. So I think that there's like a nuance between the rebel energy and being compliance, like, or non-compliant, right? Like the whole rebel, fuck you, I'm not doing it that way. That sheep would be mean with the thumb, with the middle finger up 100%. But your sheep is like, hold on, I'm not going to comply with the standard because I'm feeling something else that could bring a better result, more potential for growth, expansion, learning. So I love that there's that differentiation. It's such a subtle nuance, but you totally nailed it. And even with the picture of the black sheep, it's like, it's really great. It's perfect. And it makes me realize that we're totally doing the same thing. It's like branding as it was doesn't make sense anymore. It doesn't work anymore because what I need to do is align the person back to themselves first. And then you're leading your branding from a place of intuition and clarity and alignment. And everything else from there will flow so much better. So there is a shift going on out there. People like you and me and Alex, we're feeling the shift and responding and saying, fantastic. I'm not holding the monopoly on this. I want to share this so that more people are doing it. Like, let there be millions more brand alchemists because that's only better for the world, you know?
Totally. I would love if more of this message spread than like people who just feel like they have to stay within confines of a
Hmm.
box. Like, it drives me bananas. I can't talk to you. Like, you clearly like are driven by something other than me. Like, I'm driven by the best result and you're driven by something else that is not the best result.
And I feel like all these young salespeople coming in and they get handed this binder and it's like, stick to the script. This is how we've always done it. Do it this way. And don't think. Don't be yourself. Don't bring any piece of you. Just be this robot. And I don't think that works going forward. I don't think that works at all. How disconnected could you be as a person getting in your car, going and doing this job and not even being allowed to be yourself, not having any intuition, not bringing any of yourself to the table where that energetic trust is built, that bridge is built with that person in order to make that sale. You're already completely disconnected if you aren't coming, if you're just showing up with a script. Who's buying in the future? Like, that's just basically a numbers game, right? Where you got to hit 1,000 people and hopefully you get 3 a day.
Totally. Sales is only a numbers game if you treat people like numbers. And
Right.
if you're like going for a straight volume play, like, okay, cool, get a call center, whatever, but most people don't need that. And so they don't need that strategy. And they've been gaslighted into thinking that they do need that
Hmm.
strategy. And that's what really like irks me, is that people are like not taking in consideration, not everybody has the same goal. Not everybody has the same audience. Not everybody has the same offer. Not everybody has the same personality. Like, you're just not considering that at all. And it's just so small minded. It's just so ineffective. And it's the standard. It is very sadly the standard. And it is this aggressive male thing that everything in sales has been designed for an aggressive man. And there are so many different types of buyers other than aggressive men. Like, that used to work when it was just aggressive men selling to aggressive men.
Right.
But now there's so many different buyers and there's so many different sellers. So a different strategy is needed for both sides of the equation.
100%. And I always like to do the higher perspective of humanity. Like, I'm not knocking where sales was. I'm not knocking the male dominated workplace because that was what we needed that to happen at the time. That generation was creating a foundation so that our generation could come in and be like, oh, this doesn't feel right. This isn't working anymore. So now we need to move into something else. And our kids, like this, the generations that are coming in, are thinking totally different than we are, even now. So I feel like, to have like the flow, to have that natural intuition piece, never knocking where we came from, moving forward. I feel like humanity right now is in this weird transition, right? We're transitioning out of the things that didn't work into stuff that's new and that's going to be for the generation coming up next, for the betterment of all of us. Like if people could just do that little shift, I think it would help in getting through this transition with less bumps.
Absolutely. Like, can we be open to the idea that there's room for improvement? Like, could that just be a possibility? And if it is, how can we go about, you know, curiously exploring how to improve it? Not saying anybody's wrong. Like, I don't know. The boomers have a very defensive attitude, and a white knuckled grip on everything. And it
Hmm.
it is passing down to some younger generations, but I hope that, like, as they move on from this world, that will shift again, because why wouldn't you want to evolve? I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing that's always driven me crazy, and it's just going to take the right kind of people asking the right kind of questions and not putting up with answers like that's the way we've always done it. No,
That answer
that's
drives me nuts.
yeah,
Like,
no, that's
what
not
a
how we're doing it going forward.
what a bad reason to continue doing something. Or that's how everyone else does it, is another one that is a bad reason to do. Like, you want to be different. Black sheep are naturally different, and they've been forcing themselves to act this one way because it makes everyone uncomfortable for them to be different, whether that's in their personal life, in their professional life, in their romantic life. Like, maybe they don't look at marriage the same. Maybe they don't want to have kids. Maybe they want to travel instead of being a homeowner. And it applies to industries and sales and, anything. And so many people just force themselves to do this thing that, like, stomps on their soul. Like,
Yeah.
this version that everyone else has of what it should look like, of what success should look like, that it looks like having two kids and owning a home and having a steady job. And a lot of people feel suffocated by that.
Yeah. I
Hmm.
like that it's cool to be the black sheep, right? Because black sheep, when you were, I'm the black sheep of the family, and that just means I'm an outcast and I think differently. And it's like, no, we're celebrating the black sheep. Let's raise up the black sheep, right? Because not only are we recognizing that there's something distinctively unique about you, and what you thought was something that made you a social pariah was actually a beautiful gift. So here's the space to support that. I feel like that's everything that you bring to the table.
I'm so
Yeah.
glad that you get that, because that is how I feel. I'm like, what you have is exceptional and something that the world needs now more than ever. And black sheep are more powerful together because we can keep each other focused and resisting the pressure. And we have a whole lot more fun because we're not worried about being appropriate or whatever bullshit other people are using as, like, their criteria for decisions, which is all boring stuff. It's so fake.
I used to think, so I'm having an aha moment on this podcast that I used to think that I was a wallflower and I just wanted to blend in, and I didn't realize that I never could because I was a black sheep. I always had to try something different. I didn't want to just, even if it wasn't as efficient, I always had to just try something my way just to see what it would be like.
Yeah.
Even in a factory job or as an electrician, I would I would just try things. Maybe it wasn't better, maybe it was worse, but I just couldn't not try it my way. I always had to do a little bit out of the box just to see for my own curiosity, my own little spark of, oh, I need to do things my way, and oh my God, I'm a black sheep. This is crazy.
The black sheep asks, what if it could be done different or better? And everyone, like, there's just a lot of people who are driven to comply and obey. So, and there's a lot of black sheep that have been, beaten into submission to doing the same. But black sheep are born with that natural instinct of like, well, what if? Not everybody has that.
Wow. And here I thought, man, why I never understood myself. Now I understand myself a little bit better. Thank you, Alicia.
Good. It's a wonderful quality. That's how like innovation and genius happens is asking what if.
It
Yeah.
only took
I think that
47 years.
there needs to be a black sheep movement. Now that you get it, you should have like this badge that you get to wear that says proud black sheep.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't want to hang out with this black sheep? This black sheep is having a great time.
I love him.
Yep.
I want
Yeah.
can people order that book on Amazon or on your website?
Yeah, both. I
Oh,
mean,
awesome.
just hair blowing in the wind. So, I mean, sales, people have read this and been like, this is like a guide for life because sales is life, it's communication. So, it's
Awesome.
how you communicate with other people to come to a win-win solution, which is something that benefits you in every aspect of your life, whether it's family or romance or professional.
Anytime
Oof.
I've ever
Yeah.
had a big win as far as sales goes, it's not so much my bank account filling up, it's how excited the person's been at the solution that I've provided. That
Yeah.
that fills my soul bank account that someone is that excited that they had to reach out to me, that something that I did made that much of a difference for their business or for their life. Like, wow, that just if I could bottle that and use it as a cologne, good to go. I'd be set.
I'm the same way. I'm addicted to the impact on another
Hmm.
human.
Think that
Exactly.
that is so I right now with the shift and the transition and all the things, there's a blurring of the line between your personal life and your business life where one is not separate from the other anymore. I'm not just the brand alchemist for business. I tend to be the alchemist wherever I go. And the more I'm leading into the gift of that, the more it expands everything. That includes the business, personal, you name it. It just brings everything together. And it sounds like you're doing the exact same thing where it's like, there's no difference. This is not just work and business. This is my gift. This is what lights me up. This is how I'm the most impactful to the world.
Yeah, definitely. Like if I can make everybody feel more grounded and accepting and even celebrating the thing that they thought made them weird, I'm so happy to give that to people. Like it brings me so much joy. And I can tell when you say you're an alchemist for people in general, I get the feeling that you are translating whatever it is they're thinking or feeling that they don't have clarity on. So you're able to translate it and say, oh, you mean this. And then they feel so great that they finally, like this thing was nagging at them and now they have it. And that could apply to so many things.
Right? People just want to feel seen and heard and cherished for that brief moment that they're interacting with your energy. Like it was such a crazy realization this summer when I thought, oh my God, like people are props in my life for this simulation that I've created for my soul to experience and expand on. But also, I'm a prop in other people's lives. Like for that moment where I'm interacting with somebody, that's a sacred moment. That is me and them locked for however long it is. And then I take the lesson and the gift in that exchange and I apply it to my life and move on. I think that that frees up this idea that you owe me your time. You owe me to be thinking about me all the time. Like
Mhm.
all those old structures, they just get to fall away because this is a new way of interacting and experiencing that just elevates everybody involved. Sorry, I'm getting off on a tangent.
I mean, I'm following you. I think like if you have the ability, you have a choice in every moment to be kind, like make the choice. And that can make a difference on someone, even in the smallest interactions.
100%. You are the exact opposite of AI. If I was looking at somebody to help me with my sales and in my sales team, you would be the person because you are so human and you understand so much of it. Like I yeah, I'm so looking forward to seeing you go like limitless places.
Oh, thank you, Kati. It's been an evolution. So figuring out, what exactly lights you up. I think brand's always an evolution. Business is an evolution as you like get clearer and clearer on what you love and who you love to do it with. And then things can just really accelerate from there. So I appreciate that.
I
This has been
have,
really good.
yeah, but I have I have a two-part secret question for
Okay,
Aleasha.
okay, yeah,
And
yeah. The
it,
secret question.
and
Oh
Yeah.
boy.
And it goes so well with everything that we've talked about before and during the podcast. And intuitively, it came to me that first part, Aleasha, if you could go back to your younger self and give her advice or tell her something, what would you tell her?
Man, that's so hard because she still would be stuck in the situation she was in. But I grew up in a house of toxic positivity. You literally weren't allowed to have other emotions.
Oh wow,
If you felt anything but happy, it was a choice. You are choosing that. So I'd love to tell her, baby girl, everything you're feeling is valid. What you're going through is normal. There's nothing wrong with you for feeling like that. And it's okay to have, it's actually healthy to have a range of emotions. And that's going to benefit you your whole life the more you can tap into it.
that's awesome.
It's a really nice
And
message.
for sure. And then part two, it might be even harder. What would the 80-year-old version of you say to you right now?
Yeah. So the 80-year-old version of me, I've done this exercise before.
Oh, have you?
It's why I'm moving to Spain. Um, so the 80-year-old version of me is like, you already know, it all works out, you know? Just follow your intuition and stop worrying about all this small, tiny shit. You know that you know. So just do it.
Yeah, we had a big conversation with Jamie White last week about intuition and how men, I would say most men have shut off their intuition and how it's so important to turn it back on and live life going forward, trusting your gut, trusting not just put your head down and actually listening to yourself. You'll end up with the life you want if you listen to yourself when it tells you what it wants.
Oh yeah. And you can get so caught up in like the little moments, like I recently made a bad decision that didn't end in a result that I wanted. And it really upset me for a couple of days. Like, what if I could just be like, it's part of the process, like keep moving on, you know?
Mhm.
Like, those little things can feel so big in those moments. And to know that like it ultimately all works out in the end is like that saying, if things aren't better, then they're not the end or whatever. There's like a saying like that.
Yeah,
Um, so it's just like it kind of like takes the heaviness out of those moments.
sure.
100%. It's like the 80-year-old version of you gave you this. If they were going to give you a talisman or a symbol, it would be like this golden safety net where everything is happening the way it's supposed to. There is no such thing as a bad decision. You're just making a decision, take the label out of it, find the treasure of whatever is happening there and make the shift, just adjust. All you're doing is adapting to whatever choice you've made. You have that ability. You're never tied into the decision you made or the road you're going in. You get to be flexible. You're the creator of your own life. Do it. Here's this beautiful golden safety net. I've got you. Like, you can't make a wrong decision here. So that's
Yes.
amazing. I'm so jealous you moved me to Spain.
Yeah, my 80-year-old version was like, live,
Yeah.
live. Like that's the message. Like don't like we just get so caught up in working and saving money like that we
Yep.
forget to live. So,
Yeah.
Love.
Well, it was an amazing episode. I can't wait for hopefully part two in Spain. I don't know when you're moving, but hopefully it'll be soon and you get to enjoy and then we'll come visit. It'll be really awesome.
in person. Okay, cool.
Right?
Person.
For sure. Before you let Aleasha go, I need the question for the next guest.
Right.
Oh, do you want me to come up with a question?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What situation has occurred in your life that felt really bad at the time, but ended up being really good?
I love that question. That is a great exercise.
Train our brains to not interpret bad situations as the end of the world, but the starting point that needs to
Sure.
happen, or the pivot that needs to happen, or whatever.
I'm going to put the link in the show description, Aleasha, aleashabahr.com, Black Sheep Sales. Get the book, check it out, check her out. Do you have a podcast too, Aleasha?
I do. It's called
You
Sales is
do?
Not a Dirty Word.
That's
Nice.
awesome. I hope that we can be on it one day, or at least me.
Yeah? Okay.
I love
Yeah.
sales, so for
You love
sure.
sales. I didn't know that.
I'm an
Okay.
accidental in love with sales kind of guy because when I was an on-purpose salesman, I hated it. And then I adopted a lot of the things that you talked about, and I was like, oh, wow, I can actually fill my heart and my bank account by being this trustworthy, amazing guy that helps with solutions. And then I fell in love with sales. So many of the things that you've talked about, I completely resonate with, and I would love for 20-year-olds to just find you and get, trained right off the hop. Like
Sounds
just be
so bad. I
trusted.
want that clip that out. I want 20-year-olds to find you.
Young people to be like, did it right from the start.
Yeah, just do it
Right.
right from the start, and instead of going to these places and getting handed a binder and losing your soul, losing your love of this, bringing your charisma to a job. Like sales is really about you bringing who you are to it, and when you cut that off, it's mind-boggling that there are basically people bots. I mean, in the future, those people can be totally negated by bots and AI, and they're gone. Like they're totally gone. You don't need those people. So I think that you are training the next generation of human sales. That's beautiful. So
Thank you, Alex and Kati. This has been so wonderful.
yes, and we're gonna remind everybody to like, subscribe, and share the Pear Genius podcast with everybody you know. Check out Aleasha, follow her on all her socials, and follow us on your socials too. And keep living your genius, and we'll see you on the next episode.